right, so yesterday, there was a lady she's a homeless lady, and I talked to her on occasion, and I just got this air of, I feel like she's not being authentic in her engagement, and she maybe is a little vain. A lot of people will say things like compliment, how I dress, whatever. They're not doing it because they're actually like, wow, I just really like. No, they're doing it to try to hook you. But the thing is, um, the way I dress is not really the same reason prior to coming to Christ. I dress, for example, I'm wearing this headscarf because it's blue. It's kind of got a little bit of purple tinge to it. It's made of linen. So the Father gave me a dream that I was wearing, purple, this purplish, like periwinkle blue color. And so I think that's a color that he's giving me, maybe it's a representation of where I was at that time, or just this is your color type deal. I don't know. But and what's funny is I made these earrings prior to getting this scarf. Now I thought the scarf was going to be more of a royal blue and not a like periwinkle blue, but perhaps it was by purpose because I made these earrings that almost are the exact same color as the scarf. So, and the earrings I made, and they're made of wool. All right. One morning I got up and I looked in the mirror, and the way my scarf was, it looked like the that portrait is called Girl with the Pearl Earring, and I think the Father was trying to tell me something. You're like the girl with the wool earring. So wool was a fabric that was given to the Israelites to wear. It helped keep them warm during the winter season. Wool was also called pure, and these kinds of things. So there's a reason why I'm wearing these things. Also, the Father gave the priest a certain garment for beauty too. Okay, it is for inward beauty for sure, but it is for outward beauty as well. So I'm the reason why I wear these things is not the same reason before. I was wearing these things for the glory of man before. Now it's for the glory of God, but I've also been like, well, how do I also look decent so I can be a good representation? Because, even though John came out of the woods with a loincloth on, the Israelites knew the assignment for the most part. They understood that, yeah, some man might go into the woods and come out looking for a prophet. It's not that big of a deal. He's wearing a loincloth. We want to hear the word of the Lord. For the Gentiles, it's not the same. All right? They will look at you like you're crazy if you're a person on the street or whatever because they're vain. All right? And I'm not saying that to tear them down. It's just the mentality that you have before you come to Christ. So, a lot of people will compliment me in hopes to get something out of me. And so this is kind of what this lady was doing. And I just like, her spirit was just not. But the lady is from Israel as well, and she moved to like California, and then she moved out here. And I wasn't trying to get all up in her business, but I just found it weird. I don't know. I was like, well, why did you come out here? Why did you move from Israel? Why were you in California? And I guess she had some situation with her husband, and I don't know. Who really knows the truth? I'm not about to tell all her business. But my thing is, I had like 4 hours of sleep the previous night. I don't know. With some people, it's like they want you to be on all the time, but they're not even on all the time, and then they'll expect compassion from you when they're not on, but they don't give you the same energy. So the truth of the matter is, I wasn't even really trying to talk to her. I was trying to walk past her because first off, I don't trust her. Second off, I'm tired and I don't feel like talking to anyone right now. Well, she came in the restroom after me, as she always does, and I think she was speaking in her metaphors and whatever these Gentiles do. They speak in metaphors and coded language and all that kind of stuff because that is given to Gentiles when they lack understanding. So they're like constantly explaining stuff to each other, in metaphors, but at the end of the day, like, they never have any understanding, any spiritual truth. It's weird. So I don't understand it. But she started speaking to me, and I'm always trying to decipher, is this person speaking straightly, or are they speaking in code? I never know. So I could say anything out of my mouth and it might be taken the wrong way because I'm speaking straightly and not metaphorically. And so she took offense to something that I said out of my mouth. She really did. I was literally talking about the YMCA and how they're trying to restrict mobility and how they have an issue with people that they perceive as poor, and the Young Christian Men's Association. They're not Christian anymore. In fact, I'm pretty sure they're ran by a bunch of warlocks. But my thing is, I was talking about them, and she took it as I was talking about her. And so she set out in her heart. She said, "I'm gonna cut your legs and your arms off. This is what we do in Israel. If somebody comes for us, we come after them." And I'm like, here it is. All right. That mentality is not the mentality of the living Elohim. Yet these people want to say these are the chosen people. What are you doing that's different than any other nation? What she literally said that came out her mouth is literally what Israel does. It is in their bloodline to do that. Why? Because they are not the Israelites. They are a combination between Romans, Greeks, Cyprians, Cretans, Turks, other parts of Japheth, and Esau. All right. And it was interesting because there's this lady. I think it's, first off, her name is Esau. And I'm like, that looks just like Esau. And that's exactly how she be acting, like Esau. You will give them, historical references, biblical references, dreams, visions, whatever, concerning who the actual Israelites are. They will deny it, deny it, deny it, deny it. The book of God, the seer, states that Esau thought that he had replaced Israel, saying that Israel was divorced and, that he knew the son and all this. First off, I already know that I'm a descendant of Israel. I have dreams, I have visions, I have understanding of the scripture. The scripture is in me, and then it comes to life in real life, all right? So that's what happened with this woman. But these people are always trying to say that, they're always trying to put you under them. This lady had the nerves to say, oh, well, prayer for other people doesn't work. So I gave her a couple of testimonies concerning that. You're a liar, that's not true. She was saying you can't cast out demons. She was saying all this stuff that, like, I've literally done. You have no experience with the signs and the wonders, but you're over here trying to tell me what is true and what is not true, and then calling yourself Israel, calling me a Hamite or whatever the deal is. You see how delulu these people are? They're delulu. They think that it comes from their intellect. Well, I didn't read that, so, well, this rabbi so-and-so says this, so, but nobody's sitting around asking the Heavenly Father what's true and what's not. So, as I said, this reality came forth with this Israeli woman, because she started going in on me. Oh, you have a low IQ and you're just dumb and you say corny things. Because why? I told her you need to forgive. Now, in the corny grand scheme of things, you look at some inspirational movie and they're all like, you just need to forgive, and it's like, it's the most surface level whatever. But even before I came to Christ, I was sitting in a Buddhist retreat, and this was a silent Buddhist retreat, and I was trying to learn more about Buddhism and that kind of thing. And so I audibly heard the word forgive in this retreat. And guess what? I said, I think I need to forgive. I think I need to forgive people that hurt me in situations that happened. And so I did it. I put every situation and every person that had ever harmed me up on a pedestal, which I would actually call the mercy seat at this point, because I don't know why. Why would you just choose to sit them on some kind of seat, or the situation on the seat, to forgive it? Why would you do that? I think it was a leading by the Spirit. So I did that, and I started crying profusely in the middle of this Buddhist retreat, because it was a release of pent up, aggression and emotions and whatever that have been bringing me down. So I know the power of forgiveness. And when I did come to Christ, I was walking around, and I was basically just, any situation that hurt me that popped up in my mind, I would just forgive it. Forgive 70 times, 7 times is what the scriptures say. And again, it freed me. So I know the power of forgiveness. So what she was doing, and she kept interrupting me. Satan is an interrupter. He does not want you to say the truth. He does not want you to hear the truth. He doesn't want to hear the truth. He will constantly interrupt to get you to be quiet. And so there was a couple of times that I decided to be quiet, and then I was like, you know what? No, you keep talking over me. You keep talking about how, oh, no one loves you and all this kind of stuff. But then you sit here and you want to be disrespectful and call people's names and character assassins. What are you even talking about? So after the situation, the Father gave me Proverbs 22, and I read through 24. And I tell you what, the Bible flipped open to Proverbs 22. It wasn't me trying to search. It was like, what is that? Open the Bible, is right here at Proverbs 22. So it says, a good name is preferable to great riches. Now, she thought I was trying to steal her ideas. The lady, she's really talented at making things, like functional things out of stuff. And I'm like, wow, this is cool. I wish I had the ability to do that. She took that as, you're trying to be like me. You're trying to steal my stuff. I don't want to be like you or steal your stuff. There's a certain something God's given to you and a certain something God's given to me. But who knows? Maybe that happened to her, and so she was triggered by that. But it says, and she was like, I have an empire to build. And I'm like, well, that I'm not here for money and all that. I'm here to like encourage and whatever. And so This is what she wants. She wants great riches. I said I wanted a great name, but didn't realize I was saying that. So it says, favor is better than silver and gold. The rich and the poor meet together. Yahweh is the maker of them all. A clever one foresees evil and hides himself. So I think that's what I was trying to do by trying to go around her without interacting with her. But the simple go on and are punished. The reward of humility is the fear of Yah. Riches and esteem and life, thorn snares are in the way of the perverse. He who guards his life keeps far away from them. Train up a child in the way he should go. Even when he is old, he turns not away from it. The rich rules over the poor. The borrower is the servant to the lender. He who sows unrighteousness reaps trouble. He who sows unrighteousness, and the rod of his wrath perishes. He who has a good eye is blessed, for he gives of his bread to the poor. So I went to go get this girl some ice, and she told me to get her a large cup of ice and bring back another, like, a small cup that she gave me. So I was going to get ice for myself, but I'm like, she probably needs the ice more than I do because she's sitting out here all day. Well, so I go to Chipotle, I fill up her small cup, I get her 2 large cups of ice. She says, you did what I didn't tell you to do. You got me 3 cups of ice and not the 2. And I'm like, lady, I was looking out for your well-being. So the whole time I was just like kind of baffled too, so I just kept quiet. Like, maybe I'll let her think about what she's saying. Like, would you not want 3 cups of ice rather than 2? Anyway, this is what we're going to do, because this is like craziness to me. Like, all I'm seeing is that I need to do exactly what this says. Like, he who guards his life keeps far away from them. This is talking about the thorns and the snares, of course, but understand that these people are carrying these things hefty. And although they might have started out decent, they end up bad because they won't forgive, they won't follow God's laws, whatever the deal is. So you also have to stay away from some people. So cast out the scoffer, and strife goes out, and contention and shame cease. He who loves cleanness of heart, whose speech is pleasant, a sovereign is his friend. The eyes of Yahweh shall watch over knowledge, but he overthrows the word of the treacherous. The lazy one says, there's a lion outside. I am going to be murdered in the streets. The mouth of a strange woman is a deep pit. So, and she brought something up like that. She was like, oh, the throat is so deep, something like that. And I think it was in reference to this. And she was saying it without saying it, type deal. And then I was like, is she talking about me? And I think she was trying to say that, but then again, I didn't attack her. She thought I was attacking her. And then she ended up being this person. The mouth of a strange woman is a deep pit. That meaning the pit being hell, the grave, what comes out of her mouth is straight from hell. The one denounced by Yah falls in there. Folly is bound up in the heart of a child. There was a girl that came around, and she was like, because this lady was yelling at me, One lady came around, and she was like, can you be quiet? There's kids around here. And I thought about that, and I was like, I haven't been called that before. I think I fall under the child of God type deal. But there was a child over there, actually. There was a little kid. But when she said it, I was like, The rod of discipline drives it far from him. One oppresses the poor to increase his wealth. So this is interesting. One oppresses the poor to increase his wealth. So this made me think of, like, in the Congo, those people were already poor, and they decided to oppress them through laboring for cobalt and whatever it is that they need. And then, like I was saying about the YMCA before, there was a bunch of people in here. They were like poor and that kind of stuff, homeless, and they would sit here and they would talk. They weren't bothering anyone. But the YMCA kicked them all out. Now, the YMCA is, again, called the Young Men's Christian Association. I got the manager battering me because I sat here and was making earrings. I'm like, I'm paying a certain amount of money every month. You have these places for people to sit and to chill. Why can't I sit here and make earrings? So they have become like a business. And it's just like Nebuchadnezzar, where Nebuchadnezzar did not want to take care of the poor and the needy. So what God had did was humble Nebuchadnezzar to eat the dew of the earth. This is also what's going to happen to America, because I can feel in my spirit that people are starting to grow aggressive towards the poor and needy and the homeless and people that need help. You can feel it. There is a certain spirit that's on many people of self-exaltation, and it's no different than, like, Nimrod, who wanted to build the Tower of Babel, and Lucifer, who fell from heaven. So, this is the thing, and the lady sitting there yelling at people. It says another gives to the rich only to come to poverty. All these churches around here that give to these rich churches. The reason why my mom never came back to God was because she was going to Vineyard Church in Westerville, Ohio. Now, Vineyard Church has thousands of people that come to it. You're getting a tithe and an offering every Sunday, if not other days of the week. You're making plenty of money, all right? My mom needed help paying for the funeral of her sister. Vineyard Church did not want to give her a dime. But you're over here giving them your 10% tithes and offerings. You are giving to the rich only to come to poverty. So you have one oppresses the poor to increase his wealth. All right, YMCA, these charlatans in these churches, the people mining cobalt over in Congo for Tesla. And then you got people who give to the rich only to come to poverty. And when I was in Uganda, actually, I went to this church, and these people were from, like, Alabama, like the church leader and that. He was a serpent, by the way. Yes, he was. He was a whole serpent. He was taking those poor African people's money so that he can go on vacation, but then they can't even get any food for their children. This is what happens when Gentiles rule, okay? This is why you guys are not the chosen people. When the chosen people rule, it's not going to be all this nonsense that you guys are doing. So it says, incline your ear and hear the words of the wise. And this is another thing. They would think I'm a fool for saying that. Why? Because they're fools. Incline your ear and hear the word of the wise, and apply your heart to my knowledge, for they are pleasant if you guard them within you. Let all of them be ready on your lips, that your trust might be in Yah. That's a good word, actually. Apply your heart to my knowledge, for they are pleasant if you guard them within you. Let all of them be ready on your lips. So be ready to say the word of Yah. That was something that I actually prayed about recently, because I'm like, the word would come to my mouth and I would say it, and now I feel like I'm having to force myself to say it at this point. And so I prayed about that the other day, because I was like, that's not normal. But anyway, it says, I cause you to know today, even you. Have I not previously written to you of counsels and knowledge to cause you to know the certainty of the words of truth, to return the words of truth to those who send it to you? That's fire. So you're supposed to speak the word of God to those who send it to you. Do not rob the poor because he was poor. And that's what a lot of people do. They're like, well, you're poor. You must be in a poor position, and so I have the right to rob from you. You're not going to need it anyway. Actually, this bus driver the other day, he's a whole son of Satan. He was like, oh, well, you know that you guys were kidnapped and put into slavery because you're African leaders. Let's not try to sit here and act like slavery wasn't 200, 300 years after the fact that you guys let those people sell us to you and took us. Don't try to act like it was only African leaders. So, and in the midst of that, you hung people, you cut open pregnant women, and you fed their babies to crocodiles, and then you decided to make some sanctions like you did in South Africa so that the people could not have any land and that they would just serve you, and then you decided to make laws concerning racism and segregation and not vote, all this kind of stuff. So, you can sit here and try to blame the African leaders for what they did, which they were wrong, but you still need to take ownership and accountability for what your ancestors did. So, 9 times out of 10, they're going to character assassinate you after that because they don't truly think they have to take accountability. But this is also why America is going to be destroyed. So it says, and oppress not the afflicted at the gate. All right. So you don't oppress them, but you continued oppressing them, and you still do it to this day. So it says, for Yahweh pleads their case. And when Yah comes in and pleads the case of the poor and the Christians that are righteous and the descendants of Israel, it's a done deal for you. It's a wrap. So it says, and shall plunder those who plunder them. Oh, look. I didn't even know that was the next verse. Make no friendship with one given to wrath. So the lady over there, the Israeli, God laid it out straight here. Don't give friendship to one that is given to wrath. Because again, the way she was going off was unnecessary. It says, and do not go with a man of rage, lest you learn his ways. So again, these people, they descend from Greeks, Romans, Turks, Cyprians, Cretans, what else was on there? They were giving Canaanite/Semite for the Yemenite Jews. So this is how you know they're using DNA in a deceptive way, because the Yemenite Jews are the same as the Mizrahi Jews. It's the same people, and they're the sons of Timon. And who's Timon? Timon is the son of Esau. So they're giving this name Canaanite/Semite to Esau. And then you have several groups, like the Sephardic Jews, that also have this Canaanite-Semite lineage. It says it right there in their DNA thing. And then who else was on there? Like the Italian Jews, I don't know. There was all these people who they call Jews, but they're not. That had this Canaanite Semite lineage. The only ones that didn't was Ashkenaz. Ashkenaz straight up said Cyprus, Greece, Rome, Sicily, like everything over there. So I just thought that was funny. And then the Sephardic Jews were like a mix of Ashkenaz and, these people that are Canaanite, Semites, Esau type deal. The Yemeni Jews, they were converted in I think it's called the Emirate dynasty. And then you will find that the Sephardic Jews were converted by John Hyrcanus. All these people fall under Esau at this point. That's why the book of God the Seer says what it says. Oh, we have the Son. Only we are the children of the Father. And isn't that the way that they act and sound and what people, oh, these are the Jews, only them, having no idea of history, none. So she was acting out of that lineage. That's what she was doing, because look what they do over in Israel till today. Kill, steal, destroy, pouring phosphorus over people, threatening people with bombs, stole that land. That land was put together only because Theodore Herzl, who was an atheist, got it signed off by the Rothschild. So it's not their land, number one. Let me take that back, because they were also, the Ashkenazi Jews were also part of the Seleucid kingdom, which was part of that land, but they also conquered it. So it's not like, okay, at some period they might have been there, but that's also not the true land of Israel. That land will be destroyed. All you got to do is look at Genesis 15:18. So it says, for Yah pleads their cause. So don't go with the man of rage, lest you learn his ways, and find yourself ensnared. Do not be one of those who shakes hands in a pledge, one of those who are guarantors for debts. If you do not have the means to pay, why should he take away your bed from under you? So this is really good wisdom. Taking out loans and all that kind of stuff, not a good idea. They get you entrapped. They're like, you have to go to school. You have to get a college degree to do this, this, and that. And you come out of school with $40,000, or I had a friend that was $200,000 in debt from college. I have one that went to school to be a lawyer. He was like $150,000 in debt in college. If you don't have the means to pay, don't even do it, because you will be sitting there paying off that until the end of time. You are in debt to these people, and they want you in debt to them because they want to be able to do whatever they want to do with you at any time. You got to work these certain positions. Your boss, they make your life miserable, basically. So that's why when I say I want to buy something, I'm like, I make sure I have the money to have it. Every car that I have bought, except one, and I've had about 4 or 5 cars, I bought them with my own money. I saved up my money and bought them. So it says, one of those who are guarantors for debts. If you do not have means to pay, do not move the ancient boundary which your fathers have set. Do you see a man who is skilled in his work? He does stand before sovereigns, and he does not stand before obscure ones. So, that can be interpreted a couple of different ways. Your work is spiritual, first off. And so all these sovereigns, the Romans and that kind of stuff ruling in these buildings and that, you will have the ability to stand before them and even tell the truth before them, because you're upright in your being. And the same thing if you're at work. If you have a skill and you're doing it and perfecting it, you're going to be able to stand in the face of your boss, especially if he's trying to steal your work and trying to belittle you and all that. So it says, when you sit down and eat, and this is Proverbs 23, when you sit down and eat with a ruler, look well what is before you, and put a knife to your throat if you're a man given to appetite, because they'll start trying to bribe you and deceive you and all sorts of stuff. Do not desire his delicacies, for that food is deceptive. And that's quintessential reason why a lot of people end up making a deal with the devil, is because they're looking at the outward appearance. Oh, well, yeah, like they have all this stuff and all these men want them and they get all this fame, and this person's sitting there telling you to eat what he's giving you, and it's literally there to destroy you. There was a man when I was working at Amazon, he said something like, you have to have a knife. And that's how these devils speak. You gotta have a knife. You gotta kill people here, because I said, I am not eating that fool. You get me in trouble with God. You're already in trouble with God. That's why you're saying that. So it says, do not labor to be rich. Cease from your own understanding. Don't set your eyes on that. Or do you set your eyes on that which is not? For riches certainly make themselves wings. They fly away like an eagle to the heavens. Do not eat the bread of one having an evil eye. I have seen this evil eye with people. And this lady, I was in Fort Worth, and she was working. She was a manager. I think she was upset because I told her workers weren't doing anything. And after that, it was like she was trying to act a certain way, and I saw her eye, like... I saw her, what, you're upset because I'm telling you your workers aren't working? These people... I don't know. I feel like your workers should be working. And if your workers were working, then there wouldn't be that 1 or 2 workers over there that have to work 3 times as hard to cover. I mean, how dare you tell me what to do as a manager? Do you know who I am? Manifest destiny. It says, for as he reckons in his life, so he is. Eat and drink, he says to you, but his heart's not with you. And so with the Israeli woman, she said, I don't know why you thought this was a family. I'm like, well, you keep inviting me over here to talk to you. Like, I'm confused. I'm very confused. Like, I was trying to go to freaking Whole Foods, and you just kept inviting me over here to talk to you. So I'm like, what's the deal? If you don't care about family or don't want friends, then stop inviting me over here. And so, it says, eat and drink, he says to you, but his heart's not with you. And so she's inviting me to eat and drink, to sit with her and talk and get whatever. But her heart wasn't with me. So now I understand that a little bit better. And that's the case. Like, many people, she had the nerve to try to say, oh, you're empty and you're an orphan and all this kind of stuff. These are the kind of behaviors that they practice that actually shows that they're empty. When you oppress the poor, all right, you're first off, you're poor oppressing the poor. That's another thing. The rich oppressing the poor, and the needy and that kind of stuff. You're already empty. People don't understand that the Spirit causes you to help the poor and needy. It's different. So it says, you vomit the pieces you have eaten and lose your sweet words. Do not speak in the ears of a fool, for he treads on the wisdom of your words, which is why she kept trying to quiet me when I told her she needed to forgive people. It's also the same thing. Don't give your pearls to swine. So it says, do not move the ancient boundary, which is, love God, love your neighbor as yourself. And do not enter the fields of the fatherless, for their Redeemer is strong. He shall plead their cause against you. Bring your heart to discipline and your ears to word of knowledge. Do not withhold discipline from a child. If you strike him with a rod, he don't die. Strike him with a rod and deliver his being from Sheol, which is the grave. My son, if your heart shall be wise, my heart rejoices, even I. And my kidneys exalt when your lips speak what is straight. Do not let your heart envy sinners. So he said something like I don't know if this is in Psalms or Proverbs, don't desire what the Egyptians have, or don't look on another nation. So I think that's like part of it. And then don't desire, what the wicked have. Maybe that's the same. I don't know. Because, the truth is, again, that's how you end up getting ensnared, because you want what the wicked have. Typically, the wicked are getting what they have, just like Satan said, bow down and worship me, and I'll give you all the kingdoms of the world. They have that because they have done wickedly. All right? Satan is just giving them their share, or whatever the deal is. So, unfortunately, because they went to get these things without, they crossed the legal boundary to get these things, they unfortunately have to reap what they sow concerning that. That is why God is trying to get people to come to him before his wrath comes down, and it's coming down as we speak, to be honest, but it's going to get a lot worse. And so he wants people to repent and come to him, lest they be absolutely destroyed. So it says, don't let your heart envy sinners, but be in fear of Yah all day long. For certain there is a hereafter, and let your expectancy not be cut off. You can lose hope real easily in these days. And so if you stay in the vine, he'll stay in you. Hear, my son, and be wise, and guide your heart in the way. Be not among heavy drinkers of wine, for the drunkard and the glutton become poor. And the slumberer puts rags on the man. And so when he says poor, he's not talking about physical riches. He's talking about spiritually. Listen to your father who brought you forth, and do not despise your mother when she is old. Buy the truth and don't sell it. All right? God has given you knowledge and wisdom and understanding from his word. Don't give it up. Don't get rid of it. Wisdom and discipline and understanding. The father of righteousness, the father of the righteous greatly rejoices, and he who brings forth a wise one delights in him. Let your father and your mother rejoice, and let her who bore you exalt. My son, give me your heart, and let your eyes watch my ways. For a whore is a deep pit, and a strange woman is a narrow well. She too lies in wait as for a prey, and increases the treacherous among men. Who has woe? Who has sorrow? Who has contentions? Who has complaints? Who feels hurt without cause? Who has redness of eyes? Those staying long at the wine, those going in to search out mixed wine. So, you're dealing with these things, some of us, all right? Because the Messiah, he had sorrow, all right? He had woe, but I don't think it was without cause, all right? This woman had hurt without cause. I did not say anything to her that was wrong. She took what I said as an attack on her, and it makes me want to cry, because I don't want her to feel that way. I literally was not even talking about her. But the way that the enemy works, he'll put stuff in your mind when you are, in a bad situation, when you're oppressed. And so that's what he did. He don't want her to be free is what it is. He don't want her to be free. But God initially told me to tell her about God. So it says, do not look on the wine when it's red, when it gives its color in the cup, as it flows smoothly. In the end, it bites like a snake. All right. And so it was funny because a few days prior to that, I keep seeing this license plate and it has that serpent, that coiled serpent that says, don't tread on me. Well, after that situation with the woman, I just looked right at that license plate and I was like, oh, that's what that was about. Because she was definitely giving that don't tread on me stuff. You know, she thought I was treading on her. I wasn't treading on her. But it says, in the end, it bites like a snake and it stings like an adder. Your eyes look on strange women and your heart speaks perversities. And you shall be as one lying down in the midst of the sea, and as one lying at the top of the mast, saying, they struck me, I was not sick. They beat me, I did not know. When shall I wake up? Let me seek it again. So, you know, we can be like the dog that goes back to our vomit quite a bit, which is why we need to make the decision on who we're going to serve. It says, don't envy evil men. This is Proverbs 24. Nor desire to be with them, for their heart plots to ravage. I mean, she literally said that she was going to cut off my legs and my arms. She meant that spiritually. So I can't walk, and so that I can't do any works. And it says, and their lips talk of trouble. By wisdom a house is built, and by understanding it is established, and by knowledge the rooms are filled with all precious and pleasant riches. Again, spiritual. Mighty is the wise in strength, and a man of knowledge strengthens power, for by wise guidance you wage your own battle. And delivery is by a great counselor. Wisdom is high for a fool. He does not open his mouth in the gate. He who plots to do evil is called a master of evil plots. The purpose of folly is sin, and the scoffer is an abomination to men. So he who plots to do evil is called a master of evil plots. I didn't realize how much people plot to do evil. It always reminds me of some cartoon or some movie, which is really based off of true life. Of like, literally, there are people out here plotting to do evil. The first thing that comes to my mind is, what is that movie? Avatar, with the blue people, and they were plotting to take over that land, which essentially is Eden, I'm pretty sure. Wetico spirits all around, just it's consuming. They're being consumed, and so they want to consume everything else. And they said, like, this girl in this Buddhist retreat, she was like, well, I couldn't do good, and so I thought myself to be really good at doing evil. So they're like, we're going to get some kind of justification or satisfaction out of something that we do, even if it's evil. But they don't understand that they're going to be recompensed. So it says, and the scoffer is an abomination to man. If you falter in the day of distress, your strength is small. Deliver those taken to death and hold back those stumbling to the kill. If you say, so you got a purpose here, you got to deliver those taken to death and you got to hold back those stumbling to the kill. If you say, see, we did not know this, would he who weighs the heart discern it? He who watches over your life, would he not know it? And shall he not repay man according to his work? Everything that you do that is not of God or of God will be paid back. It's not a game. My son, eat honey for its good, and the honeycomb sweet to your taste. Know that wisdom is thus to your being. If you have found it, there is a future, and your expectancy is not cut off. Do not lie in wait, O wrong one, against the dwelling of the righteous. So, don't lie in wait. So you imagine like a cat, right? And it's like hiding underneath the brush because it's about to pounce on something. It says, don't lie in wait, O wrong one, against the dwelling of the righteous. Do not ravage his resting place. So when I was sitting here, making those earrings, and this manager comes up and he's all like, can I help you? You've been here for a while. And I pay to be here. I'm not bothering anyone. I'm literally just sitting here making earrings. So it has been the case lately where the wicked, they want to just disturb the peace of people. If you are at peace, if you're not doing anything, you're not bothering anyone, why is it you feel the need to disturb that person's peace? Because you are wicked, all right? Maybe it's because you can't have peace yourself. I don't know. So it says, do not lie in wait, O wrong one, against the dwelling of the righteous. Do not ravage his resting place. For 7 times a righteous man falls and rises. Why? Because his maker is strong. But the wrong one stumbles into evil. Do not exalt when your enemy falls, and let not your heart rejoice when he stumbles. So that's a good one, because we know that America is about to be destroyed because of its wickedness. We know that. I don't think we should be rejoicing that a lot of people are going to die. A lot of people are going to fall sick. But I sure will be happy when we are out of this country and in our own land and we have peace and don't have to be around these wicked people. So continuing, it says, lest Yah see it and it be evil in his eyes, and he turns away his wrath from him. Do not fret because of evildoers, and don't envy their wrong, for there is no future for the evildoer. The lamp of the wrongdoer is put out. My son, fear Yah and the sovereign. Do not mingle with those who change, for their calamity arises suddenly. I think that might be like, maybe it could be talking about moodiness, but it could be talking about people that have decided to forsake God too. It says, and who knows the ruin of both of them? These also are for the wise. It is not good to show partiality in right ruling. That's good, because a lot of times we treat certain people in a way that is not law abiding. So when you pick and choose who you want to give, I don't know, like you're sitting around three brothers in Christ, and you have 4 biscuits or whatever, and you're like, oh well, I don't want to give this biscuit to Ronnie because I don't like him that much. No, God wants you to give a biscuit to Ronnie and the other 2. All right, so when you use unfair weights and that kind of thing, trying to ostracize and single people out and that kind of thing, and treating certain people in a certain way because, oh well, I don't really like this, and it's not even a big deal. I don't like that you're wearing the color blue today. Or like a big example is how they put black men in jail for a longer period of time for lesser crimes. All right, that's what that is. Oh well, he didn't have the money. Oh well, he knows John's mom. This is what these people do. All right, you got to know somebody. That's why this country is also going to be destroyed. So it says, this is a good one too. He who says to the wrong, you are righteous, peoples curse him. So I made a video about Aniko, and all these people got on like, you're the one that's satanic, and I'm like, this girl has literally admitted that she is a witch. So you over here saying that the wrong are righteous, and you're calling people who are trying to be righteous wrong. That's abomination to God. So it says, nations despise him, but those who rebuke the wrong, it is pleasant, and a good blessing comes on them. He who gives a right answer kisses the lips. Prepare your outside work, and make it fit for yourself in the field. Then you shall build your house. Do not witness against your neighbor without cause. There's a lot of accusations that are made. Oh, you think you're better. Oh, you're on your high horse. I had this conversation with a guy on Instagram. There's a band, it's like a Christian metalcore band. And I said, there's higher frequencies of music to listen to that will bring you closer to God. And this guy, he found that so offensive. He found it so offensive. He didn't inquire, he didn't ask, he just immediately went off on me. But, long story short, I told him my side, and then he apologized, which was good. But this happens a lot in the Christian church, where they just make assumptions of what you say and what you mean and who you are. Oh, you think you're better? No, I'm just saying that there's better things to listen to. But anyway, it says, and do not deceive with your lips. Do not say, let me do to him as he did to me. And that's exactly what the Israeli woman sought to do. She thought I was hurting her, so she said, no, this is what Israelis do. We are going to come after you if you come after us. So God actually says, don't repay evil with evil. So you are even supposed to repay evil with good if you have it in you. Sometimes you just need to let it go. It says, I repay each according to his work. I pass by the field of the lazy, and by the vineyard of the man lacking heart. And see, it was all overgrown with thorns. Its surface was covered with nettles, and its stone wall was broken down. When I saw it, I set my heart on it. I looked and received discipline, a little sleep, a little slumber, a little folding of the hands to rest, and your poverty shall come, a prowler, and your need like an armed man. So an armed man is going to do those kinds of things. They're going to want to kill, steal, and destroy themselves. They gonna have their knives and their guns and whatever it is to destroy, because essentially I have not looked over my house, and also other people probably have hurt you and torn down your house and that kind of thing. So you really have to follow the word of God. If not, you're screwed. So that's my little experience with Proverbs 22 through 24 that happened in real life. So funny. See, it's in us. It's in us. Like, these things are being fulfilled as we speak. So don't let anyone tell you, that you're not the children of Israel when your whole life is right here in this word.